WWE wrestler, The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent-A-Racecar, you can!
Visit www.rent-a-racecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
Back again here for another late night primetime Saturday night show here for the SIM500 Vidane Racing SuperSpeedway Series, race number 8. Last chance to get yourself qualified into the championship bracket to try and win that beautiful Pro-Am Belts championship belt and the free street stock rental courtesy of Rent-A-Racecar. And finally inked in the date for that. Going to be June 11th, Friday night at Stafford Motor Speedway. Jarrett Bolliard, the previous season's champion, is going to be cashing his rental as well as this series champion as well. So we're going to be pretty exciting to be hanging out at Stafford Motor Speedway on June 11th as we have the Vidane Racing Championship night, and it's going to be the night before the debuting SRX series makes their very first appearance at Stafford Motor Speedway. So that's going to be one heck of a party, and we hope you can make it out there to Stafford Motor Speedway and party with us here at Vidane TV, SIM500 Vidane Racing, and everybody that kind of works with us a little bit. A lot of the East Coast Winter League and the NEP Series drivers are around that particular race, and I imagine we may very well see some of our Canadian friends as well. But Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. down here in the production trailer, pushing all the buttons, making all the magic happen in front of your faces, and got a 3-man booth here this evening for the Faded Glory Racing 150. Great to have Faded Glory Racing on board here tonight. Going to be taking the top 27 in qualifying. You just saw that get wrapped up on your screen, and we're getting ready to set the grid for heat race number 1. Tim Terry, Brandon Campbell, and Denver Matchett in the booth. How are we doing tonight, Tim?
Doing great so far. Getting ready to see heat race number 1 of 1. Only one heat race this evening, and Brandon will, I think, agree with me. It's better than the 4-car heat race that we had last week. We have 12 drivers, 8 laps the distance. We are going to take the top 8, and 4 are going to be going home from this one. So this is going to be exciting with Tommy Ryan, Steve Herring on the pole, Greg Snellgrove, Tyler Hallahan, Jason Barham, Stefan Marinick, winner already this season, locked into the chase. Great to see Donnie Leah back in the 29. He'll line up alongside Chad Cole. Mr. Heat Race himself, Richard Beasley, Jared Bolliard, our defending champion of this series. Randy Oakham and John Wilco complete your field of 12. We will take 8 to the main event. Tim Terry, Brandon Campbell here, and I think Denver Match is kicking around until he gets the chain pulled to call it a night. So, Brandon, you're here last week, here this week. What do you think of this series? This is iRacing SuperSpeedway, the newest SuperSpeedway to the iRacing platform. What's your thoughts going in?
I think this is one of the best leagues I've ever seen. Everybody seems to know each other pretty well. Last week was wild, and I think this week at the iRacing SuperSpeedway we're in for a good show.
Denver, you're still kicking around from the TCM event. Your first thoughts of iRacing SuperSpeedway?
This place looks pretty wild. I kind of wish I had iRacing myself so I could be in on the action. This looks like it's going to be a lot of chaos. I've heard some pretty wild things about this track, this joint, and I think it's going to live up to expectations.
The Fantasy Racetrack located just outside of Chelmsford, Mass, and we kind of discussed it off air. We just came from Dover. We just did the TCM race at Dover. It's almost like a bigger Dover. You take the straightaways, you lengthen them out, get some banking in the corners. This is a former fantasy track that was included with NASCAR Racing 2003 season and brought to life with iRacing, and we're getting ready to go green for the Fate of Glory 150 qualifying heat race. We'll be back here for the championship finale, so try to learn something if you are in this race, and I believe we're still using the trucks as well for the finale. So this is a great little teaser round. We have 10 drivers moving in to the chase after this race. Our 8 winners from our 8 races, plus at least 2 in points. Obviously, we have a repeat winner tonight. We'll bring one more driver in from points. We'll talk about that point situation in a bit. Your 2 drivers that are in those 2 spots are currently locked in to the top 27. Pace car is off. It leaves the field in command with SIM500 veteran Tommy Ryan. Green flag flies. We are underway for the first of 8 laps in heat race number 1 to set the balance of the grid for the Fate of Glory 150. And Brandon, it's not like last week where the top 4 were in the show. You've kind of got to work your way around here. What's your strategy? There's no caution here in this heat race. What would your strategy be?
Oh, it's 8 laps. I think you just got to get near the front as quick as you can. And again, there's always going to be that one big wreck somewhere, so you got to avoid that. And as long as you're at the front at the end.
2 teammates up in front. Tyler Hallahan goes to the outside of Greg Snell. That's not very nice of a teammate, though. Hallahan leaves Snellgrove out to dry in the middle. And up in front, it looks like we're going to have a new leader in this one as Tommy Ryan has fallen back through the pack. There's no outside line to be spoken of as of yet. Donnie Leah pushing Jason Barham to the lead. And Mr. Heat Race Richard Beasley on the back bumper giving a push to Donnie Leah. Leah will go to the top of the board. Denver, what are you seeing here so far?
Oh, this is pretty wild. A really unique type of drafting we're seeing here, and I can't get over that transition into the turn. Wow, that seems very aggressive, but you see Donnie Leah and Richard Beasley up there, the top 2, and they're doing a bit of tandem style drafting, and this is fun.
Got to make sure you keep the thing clean as you ride on board with the Tide Ride. The number 10 of Richard Beasley looking up at Donnie Leah. Great to see Donnie Leah back in the series, a SIM500 veteran. We'll see him on Monday nights with the Trans-Service Cup Series, and currently running in a P at number 1, trying to lock himself in. As we got 2 trucks. That's Tommy Ryan at the back of the field going for a ride. He takes one more along with him. That's John Wilco in the 62. So they are right now on the outside looking in, and Brandon, those 2 trucks look tore up. So those might be the first 2 trucks that we eliminate here this evening. We're going to send 2 more to the house after this one, and we've got to change up in front. Randy Yoakum to the top of the board.
Yeah, their trucks definitely look tore up, so it's tough with these heat races. But Tim, you know what we didn't do? Pick who's going to win the heat race.
Well, you would have to think Richard Beasley and Randy Yoakum after last week, you'd have to think they were heat race veterans here, right?
Yeah, but Richard won his heat race for the night earlier in the TCM special event, so does he have the luck to do it twice in a row?
Well, he's been to the back and he's been to the front. Now he's back to the back again. So it looks like Greg Snellgrove is leading, but he is going to be challenged on the outside by the defending series champion Jared Bulliard. And now the 8 of Randy Yoakum hops up to the extreme outside. Tyler Hallahan hanging along with Greg Snellgrove to the inside, 3 wide for the lead position. The 83 of Jason Barham going to try to make his way through here as well. And Stefan Marinick trying to put himself in a position, goes to the outside and tries to make this thing happen. So, Denver, who do you think is going to win this thing?
I honestly cannot pick a winner the way these guys are really slicing and dicing through the field. You see them switching lanes. You see them bailing on teammates. There's a lot going on out there right now. I wouldn't doubt we'll see a little bit of a surprise winner. Maybe someone that hangs out at the back and times things right here at the end. You see Donnie Leo was up front, fell back to about 7th spot, but that's just the way these races seem to work, and definitely makes it exciting.
Brandon, you've run these super speedways before, and you've run a little bit of this iRacing super speedway. I don't have a whole lot of laps on it since they released this iRacing super speedway, but compared to the Daytona and Talladega, do you have to run this track any different? Do you have to kind of set yourself up any different as Jason Barham goes up the hill? Randy Yoakum going to go to the outside and try to take this thing back, but we've seen Randy, we've seen Richard go from the back to the front, albeit it's only a 10-truck draft right now, but do you run this thing any different than you would say a Daytona or Talladega?
Yeah, definitely. I think this track's a little more unique because of the bigger turns, the wider banking. So if you're on the bottom line, and I can see these trucks are going about 230 miles an hour, it's tough to hold that bottom line. So I think you kind of, there's a little bit of arc to it, but again, 3 wide, it's going to be tough to get that arc in.
Field works off of the corner. Oh, we got trouble. One into the wall. That may have been Stefan Marinek in the 24. Indeed, it was. Good thing he has that win in his back pocket because it doesn't look like he is going to be a part of this race. And that truck is destroyed. There's now 9 trucks in the lead draft. We are going to take 8, and up the hill goes the third place truck of Snellgrove. Randy Yoakum is sideways, somehow saves it. And we still have a 9-truck pack coming to 2 laps to go. Jason Barham in the 83 is leading this pack with Richard Beasley and Greg Snellgrove. Tyler Hallahan, your top 4. Denver, do we get back to the checkered flag in a lap and 3/4 with 9 trucks still?
I mean, if you're the guys up front, you would have to think that you want to advance. You don't want to chance anything. So if I were them, I would be saving my stuff. Mind you, we all know that when you get behind the wheel and you're going for the win, a lot of times you don't care if you're in a transfer spot or not. All you care about is that checkered flag. So, I mean, it's drafting. It's probably not going to get back without a wreck. But if they were smart, they would probably just ride where they are.
Here comes the 33 to the inside, or check that's Bulliard to the inside as he tries to pick up the lead position, and we see the white flag. Richard Beasley on the outside has the lead, 3 wide in behind, and here comes the 33 on the extreme outside. That's Tyler Hallahan. Jason Barham going to take that lead. Jared Bulliard on his back bumper, and we race down the back straightaway for the final time in this heat race. We are taking 8. There's going to be probably somebody here that's going to be disappointed if they go the wrong way. Randy Yoakum's about 5 seconds in behind, hoping something happens to this top 7 in this pack. Working through 3 and 4, and Richard Beasley trying to pick up his 2nd straight heat race of the evening and 2nd straight heat race in this SIM500 Vidane Super Speedway Series. Snellgrove looks to the inside. Beasley throws a little bit of a block, but it's not going to matter. Richard Beasley is going to go to victory lane one more time. Mr. Heat Race picks up one more, Brandon.
Yeah, like I said at the start, we had to bet on Richard Beasley. Never had a doubt about it in my mind, right? So it's nice to see him back at the front, and we'll see what he can do in the future.
So now we got a 5-minute warm-up. You saw the results on your screen. Tough break for Randy Yoakum. He's the one driver that was still running at the end of that race in the outside looking in. Stefan Marinek, John Wilco, and Tommy Ryan in Denver. The downside to Randy Yoakum not making the feature this evening is he doesn't have a shot at getting that one last win to get himself into the playoffs. So tough break for the SIM500 veteran. He'll be on the outside looking in when we go green.
Absolutely. It's certainly a tough break, and you want every opportunity you can get, and I think we saw him get a little squirrely there at one point, and that really was the end for him. You lose your momentum when you're running in a draft, and you fall back. Once you lose that draft, it's really tough to get it back, and especially without cautions, that he really didn't have much of a chance. He really needed them to wreck up front, and they sure did wreck. It just came after the checkered flag going into turn 1, but really a tough break for him, and you want that opportunity. He's not going to get it, but there's going to be a lot of other drivers that are going to be hungry to get that win.
We've got about 4 minutes left in this warm-up session. Let's see, maybe Paul can get us a hold of Richard Beasley, because we We enjoy talking to him after his heat race victories, a four-truck heat win last week, wins the TCM heat race earlier tonight, and then goes to victory lane in this one. Richard, you're getting a lot of checkered flags here, just not in the feature. What do you got to do to win this thing tonight?
I mean, we got one of these this year on Saturday nights. I don't know, man. We're going to have to stay out of trouble. It's going to be chaotic.
We were talking on the top of the show about how this racetrack, being the iRacing SuperSpeedway, runs different than a Daytona and Talladega. As a driver, how do you set up for this thing tonight?
Well, like I said, we're just going to have to go out here and try to keep the nose clean and stay out of trouble and not lose any speed. A little bit of damage kills it. You're not going to get the runs you get with a clean truck.
We talked to EJ last week, and he said having the win kind of changes his mentality and mindset going into one of these races. You've got the win. This is the final race before the chase or the playoffs, so you don't need to win this thing. Does it take the pressure off you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going to go out here and have fun, and, if we get the opportunity to help a teammate get in, we're going to do that. Other than that, we're just going to have fun and try to be around at the end.
You mentioned those teammates. Who are you working with tonight? Who are you going to try to get into the playoffs? And who's on the box? Because I see Pedro's down there.
Pedro on top of the box, kind of watching over everything. Chad's the one that's going to be trying to get in because Daniel, he's been suspended, so sucks for Daniel. But, yeah, probably Chad. We're going to work with EJ a little bit and probably Kevin Brown.
So why can we talk about why Daniel's not here?
It's something to do with last weekend in this particular league, dragging the front brake, and there's even a video posted of what not to do now, and he's been suspended for I think a month.
So that's not good. So now you know what not to do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we wish you all the best tonight. Go get him and try to park this thing in victory lane. You got a lot of heat races the last couple of weeks. Go get yourself a feature.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
That's the Tide Ride. Truck number 10 of Richard Beasley will start back in position number 28 here this evening as we get ready to go racing. Just about a minute and a half or so left. And Jimmy North and Aaron Smith will line up on the front row. Aaron Smith, one of those two drivers that is currently in the top two in points. You've got Wes Hogue currently sitting second overall. First of the drivers that do not have a win. Aaron Smith is second. And you got about 19 points back to Bobby Wetzel. Daniel Falkingham, as Richard mentioned, not here this evening. Then Jarrett Bulliard sitting about 43 points back. So, Brandon, if you're Wes Hogue and Aaron Smith, you obviously want to win. If you're anybody behind those two, you want them to win to try to put one more in on points.
Yeah, and like we saw last week with, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but we saw Wes Hogue go to the outside with a group of cars. And next thing you know, he's outside all by himself. So you can see, you'll most likely see teammates tonight trying to get guys around guys that are in front of them in points or also need the win. So there's a lot of strategy that plays into this coming down to crunch time.
Denver, I know you like numbers, I know you like points, but in a super speedway race, do you really want to fall back on points?
You really can't, because these races, you see them play out in so many unique ways. By chance, if you're sitting saving, waiting for the end, and you don't get that big wreck, you don't get that caution, well, you're really out. Honestly, maybe the better strategy today, you get up front early when things are calm and you get a feel for it and then wait for the end. But, to finish first, you first must finish. And I haven't seen one of these iRacing races at a super speedway, so I don't really know what to expect totally. But really, I don't think you can rely on points unless you have a very comfortable advantage.
And we are getting ready to go racing, and I was mistaken earlier. We took everybody from that heat race, so we're gonna have a couple of extra drivers line up near the back of the field with the way everything shook out. 39 trucks getting ready to grid and go racing here this evening at the iRacing SuperSpeedway. This is round number 8 of the Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series presented by Rent-A-Racecar. I want to thank the boys at Rent-A-Racecar. Paul mentioned off the top of the show that there is a rental for the champion at Stafford Motor Speedway on June 11th, a part of the SRX weekend. And Jarrett Bulliard is going to be there. He's going to be joined by somebody else to go champ versus champ in the street stocks at Stafford Motor Speedway. Question is, who will he be joined with? We will narrow that field down to at least 10 here this evening as the field begins to grid. Jimmy North, Aaron Smith, your front row. Dwight Beverly, last week's winner. Raymond Rittenauer, the second in position number 4. Matt Zaccaro, Chad Coleman, Jason Netherly, Glenn Campbell, Jim Brooks, and E.J. O'Rourke complete your top 10. You'll be able to see the rest of your running order, your qualifying order as they come across the ticker. And now it's the time that the butterflies come up. We mentioned Chad Coleman last week. He doesn't have a win yet. Wes Hogue has been second so many times in this series. He doesn't have a win yet. Bobby Wetzel, we talked about him being the odd man out right now in points. He sits back on a 16th place starting position, or 15th place, check that starting position. He's got to work up through here. You got SIM500 veterans like Jose Gonzalez. You've got, you look back through the field, Jarrett Bulliard is on the outside looking in right now. Tyler Hallahan, Steve Herring, Chad Cole at the back of the field, Gail Brooks. List goes on and on. Denver didn't want to pick a winner, Brandon, so I'll put you on the spot. Who's going to win this race tonight? Who's going to lock themselves in?
Well, last week I took Richard Drake, and some troubles stopped that from happening. But looking through the field, Tyler Hallahan was on the front row earlier, so I'm going to take him as my pick tonight. He's got a lot of work to do, but I think he can get it.
So here's the next question I'm going to ask you, and I don't know if you have your clipboard in front of you for pit strategy, but 60 laps here this evening. How far can these guys go on fuel? Obviously, we've had a couple of cautions the last couple of weeks that we haven't had green flag pit stops, but if we do, how far can they go?
The app I'm using right now says 20 laps of fuel. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, so if it is, we'll see 3 pit stops for fuel, and I'm sure they'll want tires at some point too.
There is your track stats on the screen as we get ready to throw the green flag for the first time this evening. The Faded Glory 150 at iRacing SuperSpeedway. We'll crown a champion here in a couple of weeks, but we're crowning the 10 that make their way into the playoffs. Green flag flies. We're underway in round number 8, and Jimmy North is on the hammer. Aaron Smith to the outside. He's got to push from, I believe that's the 60 Zaccardo, as they go down into corner number 1, and they'll try to race this thing out. In Denver, it takes a little while for these trucks to get up to speed, and they'll come down the back straightaway and continue to gain momentum, and now we're already 2 and 3 wide.
Absolutely, they're fanning out all over the place, but if you look, the outside lane has a bit of momentum, but that truck, the yellow truck on the inside, is really trying to hold his own. I believe that is the 70, maybe not, but the 38 of Chad Coleman. He is out to the lead, kind of getting single file up front. These guys maybe know it's a long race. Don't get too crazy too early, but in behind there you see it, lots of 3, 4, 5 wide. They're all over the place and slicing and dicing, Tim.
Up front, similar to what we saw last week when we left you with Chad Coleman and E.J. O'Rourke running up in front of the field. And it's great to see the Trans Service number 44 up here, Glenn Campbell, as well. Glenn's one of those staples on Monday nights when we go green with the Trans Service Cup Series. And now trying to get around Chad Coleman in front of this field. E.J. O'Rourke pulls up high and allows another truck to make his way up through here. And that may be Kevin Brown in the number 93 truck trying to make his way. And he's got to win this season. Pressure's off, as with E.J. O'Rourke. Pressure's off for those two drivers. They don't have to win. If they do win, it allows somebody else to get in on points. And Brandon, I think Richard hit the nail on the head. If you have a teammate and you do have a win, you kind of become a wild card to try to help that other teammate get into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of those leagues where you don't want to make enemies because they can definitely make sure you don't win the race. So I think if you have a teammate that's trying to get in, you want to do whatever you can to push him to the front. So I guess we'll see what happens at the end if teammates help teammates out.
Bobby Wetzel on your screen in the 9 is one of those drivers on the outside looking in on points. Aaron Smith, the bright yellow truck in behind him, is one of the drivers that is ahead on points. He's one of those top 2 drivers that is would be locked in on points if it were to stay that way. So Bobby Wetzel looking to pick up some points on Wes Hogue. Hogue runs safely right now. Back about 7 seconds in behind in position number 30. So he's got some time to work here. And Denver, I don't think that's a bad strategy back there, especially at the back of this huge pack. Kind of let everything happen in front of you and kind of let somebody else make the mistake.
Absolutely, Tim. That's always a strategy to consider at a race like this. And you know, like we said before, to finish first, you first must finish. You really got to be there at the end. And we saw some guys in the heat races get tore up early, and so you really got to be careful. really got to be patient. But if you talk strategy, I think the best strategy out there right now, you look, the top 6 are checking out from the field. They got about a 4.5 second advantage over this big pack, and that's pretty big for only being 4 laps in. That's, as great as the strategy is to hang back, you still have things in front of you and things can happen. You're better off having everything that could happen in your mirror.
Back up front, we have a new leader. It's E.J. O'Rourke at the stripe, but Kevin Brown is going to take the advantage down into corner number 1. Brown is going to lead Chad Coleman. E.J. O'Rourke up to the very high side. Jamie Dobbs in the 91. Top 5 run here last week, Brandon. Back in the top 5 one more time as he chases down Glenn Campbell, Matthew Baker. Baker had to come through the heat race last week in order to get into the feature and worked his way up near the end, was in contention before a couple of late race incidents. But these top 6 have broken away, and they've broken away by about 4 seconds over the mess, Brandon, that's in behind this.
Yeah, for sure. They all seem to be working pretty well together. You see they're running a single, well, one car pulled out now, but mainly single file, trying to run that train around the track, get as quick as they can ahead of everybody, and hopefully they avoid the big mess in behind them.
And you can see a few of those drivers have worked their way up from the heat race up into what is now the top 10. Guys like Richard Beasley, Stefan Marinick, Donnie Lee, Tyler Hallahan, Greg Snellgrove, all up in the top 15. As you look at the Tide Ride, the number 10, as he is running in behind Bobby Wetzel and Matt Egan. Egan had problems in qualifying, was able to lock himself in 27th. The last driver to lock himself in on time was Matt Egan, and now within the top 10, moved from 27th up to position number 7 as he has Wetzel in behind him giving a little bit of a push. Richard Beasley there as well, and Denver for the most part, and I hate to jinx it, these guys single file back to about 25th-ish.
Yes, they are definitely starting to settle in almost throughout the whole field, like you said. And, a race like this, patience is certainly key. And, I think Brandon said we will probably see pit stops eventually. This first run is all about surviving and really finding your friends, getting with them. And, you can strategize all you want, but in a race like this, it probably will get thrown out the window at some point. But yeah, single file, clean and green so far, and good to see that we haven't torn anything up yet. That's what sometimes the risk with these types of races are, is you risk tearing a bunch of vehicles up with just one little mistake. But so far so good, and they're still slicing and dicing. I don't know how someone hasn't made a major mistake, but they're keeping it clean.
Yeah, Brandon hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of respect being shown by some of these drivers that have raced with each other on a weekly and a regular basis. And you see it back here. Tommy Ryan, Randy Yoakum, they know each other really well. The 01 back there as well, trying to make his way up through. That's Dwight Beverly. They know each other. There's a lot of respect from years gone by, and we're talking back in the 2K3 days as well. They know each other like the back of their hand, and that's not the last time we're going to be talking about those guys. We'll be up near the front of the field before this thing is all said and done. Kevin Brown will come by this time and complete lap number 8. He will lead over Chad Coleman and Glenn Campbell, your top 3. And that pack, Brandon, in behind when they were single file throughout the most pack, and these guys were kind of slicing and dicing up in front. They were catching, the second pack was catching these 6, but now they lost a little bit of time the last time by.
Yeah, when they were single file, the front 6 or 7 or so were they were trying to gain their positions at the front, and it looks like the back pack was gaining over 3/10 per lap. So if they stay single file, if they want to, they'll be up to the main pack in no time, but I'm not too sure if they really want to be up with them.
I think right now the strategy would be just to avoid everything, but albeit these laps are clicking away fairly quickly as we'll come by this time and complete lap number 9, and already creeping closer towards what would be the 1/4 distance mark, the start of green flag pit stops. We saw that in the earlier race that we had here on Vidane TV, that pit strategy could very well come into play as Kevin Brown leads Chad Coleman and the 44 Glenn Campbell off of corner number 2, and down the back straightaway they go as they continue to work around this iRacing SuperSpeedway. You see Matt Egan on your screen. That is the second pack that we have here, Denver. The 10 of Richard Beasley right in behind him, and they've got single file all the way back to about, the last couple of cars in this pack back around 30th.
Absolutely, and you see Beasley really has been all over the bumper of Egan, giving him a nice big shove there. But they're doing a pretty good job, single file, and like you said, they were catching at one point and started to fall back. But really, when you have pit stops coming up, it's going to come down to strategy. And I wonder almost if these guys might short pit a little bit and try to get back out in front of these guys. It could really make things a little messy when we get ready for pit stops. We're still a little bit away from that, but these guys up front seem to be. I'm really intrigued by what I've been seeing up front. They just seem to be willingly jumping out of line and falling back and just working their way up through this pack of 6 cars.
And they haven't gained a whole lot, but they haven't lost a whole lot either when it comes to ebb and flow between these two packs, as we have one lap truck. That is Jimmy North. And Brandon, we must have missed that because Jimmy North's truck is tore up on the back end. Something not right with that number 48 who started up in the front of this field, started in P1. He falls back through this pack. He is I want to say the only driver that's one lap down, but that would be incorrect. Jose Gonzalez is just being passed on the apron, and I believe that might have been a second lap down that Jose Gonzalez went down. So a couple of trucks early in this one finding some trouble, but we're still green through the first 12 laps as E.J. O'Rourke tries to go to the outside with Glenn Campbell. Almost a problem there with Jamie Dobbs up in front, but E.J. O'Rourke trying to get that thing back to the front of the field. Kevin Brown will be your leader, but E.J. O'Rourke, Brandon's getting that push from Glenn Campbell, trying to get it to the lead.
Yeah, those two seem to be working pretty well together. They started near the front, and they've been maintaining those positions, so it's looking good for them. But back to the Jimmy North point, as we saw in our earlier race, it doesn't really matter where you start, and you can find yourself ended up sideways in the wall somewhere, so it's just must have been tough luck for him. I didn't see what happened, but you never know.
And no fast repairs in this race either, so Jimmy is trying to limp it out and try to get what he can out of this race, because when you look at points, he pretty much had to win to get into what would be the playoffs for this Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series. Richard Beasley now leads that second pack up with Bobby Wetzel in his back bumper, Tyler Hallahan, Greg Snellgrove, the two teammates from Nova Scotia on their back bumper, and it's starting to get a little bit racy back here, Denver, around Aaron Smith. This pack is kind of broken up a little bit. Aaron Smith, Eugene Vernon, Nick Hurd, Chris Gibo, and Jim Brooks, and these guys back here is where I think the problems almost begin to look like they're brewing.
Yeah, for sure. We've kind of split up into 3 packs there now, and the second pack trying to get a little organized, but there's a couple guys in there that want to get racy. This third pack right here that we have on the screen, they're just going for it. They no such thing as organization back here. It seems like they got some double file racing, but at the same point, it's still early and a lot can happen. So as they're double file though, they're not getting too rough. We're not seeing any contact, and honestly, that's a good thing. You see some of the other guys kind of diving in and out of the line, and that's when things get hairy. You get a bad block, and that's when people end up in the wall, and that's where the big one usually starts. So, but even though, like we said, Brandon has said there's a lot of respect between them, it's really showing, even though it can get a little dicey, but that's the nature of the beast. That's what this type of racing is like.
Kevin Brown continues to lead, head of steam from Glenn Campbell to the back of E.J. O'Rourke, but they get it back to single file racing, and Matthew Baker in the number 5, still up here in the top 5, now in between Campbell and E.J. O'Rourke for that 4th, 5th, and 6th place position. Kevin Brown up in front, doesn't have that pressure of having to win, already has a win this season, and he's also the point leader for what it's worth. We're going to go playoff racing here next week, so you can throw the point leader title out of the window, especially with that win. Doesn't have to win the points to get into the playoffs with the regular season championship and all that other stuff. Brandon, it's got to be a nice feather in his cap, but right now he's up in front. He wants to become the only 2-time winner, and so far so good for the 93.
Yeah, for sure, and especially going into a playoff race, you want to carry some momentum in there, so a big win the weekend before the playoffs it's a great way to carry that momentum.
One of the more popular drivers over here at SIM500 as well. So great to see Kevin Brown running up front and to the outside. There goes Chad Coleman. He will lead lap number 16, the former eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver, will take the point. E.J. O'Rourke to the outside, former, I believe he's about a 3-time B-Fix champion here on iRacing. He falls back to position number 4 as the 5 of Matthew Baker works the inside. Glenn Campbell, Denver, I don't think has left the back bumper of E.J. O'Rourke all night long, and they're going to try to work that outside one more time.
Absolutely. We saw that outside work they gave the big push to Chad Coleman, and Coleman really didn't wait for them. He dove down to the bottom and kind of gave Kevin Brown a little chop there to assume the lead. And now we're going to see them falling behind back there. Single file for the top 6 again, and it's behind them, they're still single file, but it's almost like a snake when they come off the corner. They're all over the place, almost sliding up the track, sliding back down to the yellow line, and but Richard Beasley's been leading this pack for a while now, and he was in that heat race, took the win in that. It really will be interesting to see that 10 car if he can get some track position and gain some ground, if he can compete with those top 6 or so.
He's got Donnie Leah parked on his rear tailgate and trying to give him a little bit of a push, but it's still been about 4 seconds that this pack has trailed that lead pack. The lead pack of 6 trucks doing a great job trying to maintain that advantage back to position. What would be number 7 on back with Richard Beasley, Donnie Leah, and the rest of the field, Egan, Netherly, Wetzel, Hallahan, and Snellgrove among those in that pack as we continue to work here. Lap number 18 has been completed, so we are closing in on the 1/3 distance mark in this Faded Glory Racing 150. Chad Coleman continues to lead. You're watching the second pack from about 7th all the way back to 24th. And now it looks like, Brandon, we've kind of got a 3rd distinct pack working here. Starts back at 25th with Steve Herring in the 98. And then everybody else kind of in behind them. So we've kind of got a couple of extra packs brewing here on this iRacing SuperSpeedway. Probably not a bad strategy for this 3rd pack here.
No, and if you're watching them, you can see that there's no real sense of urgency to, get in a line and get up to the lead pack. So I'm assuming it's just one of their strategies. They want to stay out of everything, and it looks like we have cars coming down for pit stops.
And at the back of the field as well, and we got some near the front. A little bit of a scatter throughout some of these packs, but a lot of that back half, that 3rd pack, decided to come onto pit road on that last lap. You can see them there getting service to their race trucks. As we'll wait to see who comes in from this first pack, but I see Donnie Leah has his hand out the window. Richard Beasley coming in this time as well. So some more drivers from that second pack. We'll keep an eye on this first pack and to see if anybody decides to fly onto pit road this time, and I believe all of them except for the 5 truck will do so. Baker stays out on the racetrack. The rest of the top 6 are in. Richard Beasley leading about a handful of drivers back there in the second pack coming onto pit road. In Denver, I'm impressed. The line for the pit road speed doesn't exactly start at the wall. It goes a little bit further, but there's been no mistake so far getting these trucks down from 220 all the way down to the 65 miles an hour.
I was a little concerned for a couple of them guys. They came in hot, but like you said, they've done a great job. And that little entrance wall there kind of sticks out. That can be a little bit of a hazard if you're coming in too hot and maybe lock it up and lose control. But so far so good, all clean on pit stops, and I'm really curious to see how this pans out. You see the 38, Chad Coleman, he entered as the leader, and I think he's going to end up winning this race off pit road amongst the guys that he hit it with. But we had 3 different packs, and I'm really curious to see once this gets straightened out. As the 24, it's a little slideways a little bit, maybe hit a little bit of help, but I'm really curious to see what the dynamic of the packs is going to be once this all cycles through. If we'll be back to having 3, or maybe we'll be down to 1 or 2, or maybe we'll be split up into even more packs. It'll be an interesting dynamic once this all cycles through.
So this ends up being the rest of the field coming onto pit road, led by Matthew Baker. And I'm up here. I'm not in the race truck, Brandon, but I know you have more experience on these super speedways than I do. Baker was a part of that 6 truck pack, stayed out 1 extra lap, came back down on pit road, kind of fell back into the clutches of that second pack. Was that a good call from Baker to stay out that extra lap?
You wouldn't think so, because at the super speedways, the draft is so strong that if you're just 1 car around by yourself, everybody else would be in a train and they'd be gaining so much time on you. So he went in by himself, and he ended up most likely coming out with the second or third pack instead of the front one. So usually maybe he had teammates in the back and he was waiting for them or something, but I would have went in when the rest of the pack went in.
And that front pack kind of got, it was 6, and now it's kind of 2 and 2, and here's one here, and Chad Coleman and Kevin Brown are your top 2. Then you got Jose Gonzalez in behind them. That is a lap truck, currently sitting in 38. Then this is the next battle for what would be position. It'd be Jamie Dobbs and E.J. O'Rourke. So you got 2 two-car tandems. You got Glenn Campbell running all by himself right now in position number 5. Jarrett Bulliard, I think, is going to come out of this one, at least in that second pack, best positioned, but by himself right now. Matthew Baker in behind him. And then the first real pack is in behind them, led by Bobby Wetzel, Matt Egan, the 76 of Jim Brooks. You got Donnie Lee, I believe, back here as well, the 6 of Chris Guibo back here, Gail Brooks. This is the first real big pack, Denver, and it's for about position number 8 on back, but I think they're going to pick up some friends in Glenn Campbell, Jarrett Bulliard, and Matthew Baker in the next couple laps here.
Absolutely. Looking at the timesheet, you're really going to see a big difference with the drivers that are in the draft and with the drivers who are not. I don't have enough experience with this to know how the tandem drafting per se, like the 2010 NASCAR Cup Series style, how much that makes a difference on iRacing. As we have a caution on the Speedway, our first caution of the night, 24 laps in, and no, that does not look good.
Yeah, we got one truck down on the apron, and he is going to take the quick repair or quick tow back to pit road. So we'll get Paul Strickland Jr. Showtime back on the horn for a Raise Energy Drink instant replay. Paul, what happened to put us under caution for the first time?
Yeah, it looks like just the Jack Daniels car here, the 01, running behind the number 31 here. Looks like the 31 may have been a lap or so ahead of Dwight Beverly. Running a little bit side by side here, and just kind of running by themselves. The 31 tried to kind of dip up in behind the line, and the 01 didn't quite have him cleared. And this is a big hit, unfortunately, here for SuperSpeedway Racing, going pretty quick as he hit that wall. So you made mention, Tim, he took the quick tow down to pit road, going to see if he can get that thing repaired. But looks like the 01 may very well be done for the evening. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on pit road. A lot of these drivers that came in from the last pack there, they kind of came in a lap later, so right now they kind of have a little bit of advantage if they were to go and take 1 or 2 attempts at the green white checkered later on tonight, if that is how the race ended up. But we'll see what happens here on pit road.
Field will collect behind the pace car, and the advantage that Chad Coleman and Kevin Brown had is now negated. I don't know if we'll see anybody down on pit road on this exchange, Brandon. They just came down into pit road a few laps ago, but the one thing I'm seeing, we talked about tires potentially being an issue off the top of the show. I'm showing 3 sets of tires in this race, so if that is the case, these drivers that would have just came down pit road, I'm assuming most of them would have taken tires, which would give them only one more set left, and they'd have to make one more pit stop at least from here to make it the distance. So, and I might be proven wrong because it looks like everybody is coming down onto pit road. So maybe that strategy has gone out the window. Maybe you want a little extra fuel here. What are you thinking?
We made about 20 laps before the first pit stop, so the caution will obviously help you with your fuel mileage. So I'm not sure if they're going to take this pit stop and hope it goes green the rest of the way and they'll make it, or if maybe it's just a top up, but it'll be exciting to see what happens with the strategy.
Chad Coleman will bring down the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky number 38 and get service on that truck, and it doesn't look like that truck is being jacked up. So I think this is a fuel-only stop. Kevin Brown fuel-only, and it looks like Chad might be taking a little more fuel than the rest of them, and maybe, I don't think there's any damage on that race truck, but Chad's going to lose a ton of time here on pit road. Denver, I don't like the looks of this pit stop.
Yes, something, Tim, really up with that, and I'm not sure what it is. Like, they came in with a huge advantage, and it almost makes you wonder if there was maybe some sort of mistake on that first pit stop or something, or if maybe he got a little bit of damage somehow. But that's going to mire Chad Coleman really deep back in traffic, and it's going to really split up that top 6 pack that they had. So, and I believe we may have had a few drivers stay out on that caution too, so this is really going to shuffle the deck. And it's going to make for a very wild restart, as we're going to be going green just shy probably of the halfway mark.
lights are still on atop the pace car. Maybe see if Paul can get us Chad Coleman and see if there's anything from that pit stop that we can kind of decipher with the driver, the number 38. But Jamie Dom stayed out on the racetrack. He will inherit the lead. He was running up in that top 6 pack, and we'll see if we can't get a hold of Chad Coleman. Chad, you got a copy?
I sped on pit road.
Okay. that does it. I was going to ask what happened. So you were running up front with Kevin Brown. Now, how does this change your strategy?
Ruined it.
Okay, so what do you do from here? Forget the first 24 laps. Forget we sped on pit road. What do we do from here?
We probably die. If we don't, we're going to try to go back to the front, but I got my money on we going to die.
Well, do you have anybody back there that can help you? Richard Beasley's back there, isn't he?
Help! You saw how far we pulled him on the first run?
Well, he moved from the back of the field all the way up to the top of that second pack, so he's got something.
Maybe it'll work. I don't know. All I know is I just screwed up.
Well, you got plenty of laps. Go get him.
Dude, me and Kevin broke everybody off on pit stops because neither one of us had a clue where to slow down to get on pit road here.
Well, at least you know for the next one, right?
Remember where I let off at? I just remember going, oh shit, I'm about to speed. And then I did it under caution.
What to do and what not to do with Chad Coleman at iRacing SuperSpeedway green flag or caution flag pit stops. Go get him the rest of the way. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So we'll restart here with 27 laps completed. Jamie Dobbs is going to be your leader. Wes Hogue, one of those top 2 drivers in points that has to lock himself in through points. Eugene Vernon, Kevin Brown, E.J. O'Rourke, your top 5. And that was Chad Coleman's always good for a soundbite or two. That was great from Chad. But Denver, you have to feel for him. Back of the pack. He's kind of got to reset himself now and kind of, change his whole strategy because he mentioned he was up front all night long.
Absolutely, and it's really going to potentially change everything for that truck when you're mired back in traffic. But we did see, like you mentioned, Richard Beasley start towards the back and work his way up to 7th. So it certainly is doable. And for Chad Coleman, he might need the help of a couple of cautions and maybe use a bit of strategy, maybe have a bit of luck. But Brent Roy said earlier he'd rather be lucky than good. And Chad's had some rough luck. Maybe he can turn it around now.
We'll see how far we can go in this green flag run. A pace car is in, green flag is out. We are back underway, and it's going to be the 91 of Jamie Dobbs leading us down. Wes Hogue to the outside. Eugene Vernon, a part of this battle as well. Qualified 25th here this evening. Made his way into the show through qualifying, just barely making it into the Faded Glory 150, but now falling back just a wee bit. In that 0-5, it allows Glenn Campbell to go to the outside with Kevin Brown. E.J. O'Rourke has Bobby Wetzel on his back bumper. And Brandon, new life for the 9 and new life for a couple of these drivers that were in that second pack and not in contention here. The 9 truck going to try to give a little push to E.J. O'Rourke.
Yeah, and we see guys like we discussed earlier, Matthew Baker, who pitted without the rest of the group, but he ends up winding back into 8th place. So I guess the strategy may have worked out for him, and we see a lot of guys that are moving up big spots. Eugene Vernon up 21, Chad Cole up 23. So a lot of movement in the field in the first 28 laps.
Right on board with the 9 of Bobby Wetzel, and now back to the 2 and 3 wide scenes that we see down the straightaway, and a couple of drivers trying to jockey their way into line, and Richard Beasley, or the 10 truck, I believe, has Matt Egan to the outside. They get back to what was single file, but in behind them, Jim Brooks is going to fall back. Greg Snellgrove working his way through the pack. It's hard to figure out where you really want to watch in these opening couple of laps, Denver, but up in front continues to be Kevin Brown leading the way, and what was a 6-truck pack is now 10 trucks, and we got some different players up here.
Absolutely, and Kevin Brown really appears to be possibly the truck to beat as we have a slow car up on the outside. Everyone's going to try to make their way around that, and that looks like it's going to go through all right. But yeah, no, Kevin Brown's been tough tonight and been up front all night. And now that Chad Coleman's mired back in traffic, which he's worked his way up to 22nd so far, but still got a ways to go. But it's really going to probably allow Brown to control this race. Between Coleman and Brown, up to this point, those two had really shared control, but I don't know if anyone's going to be able to compete a whole lot with Brown, and if they do, it probably won't be for long, as you see them trying to get a run up on the outside, E.J. O'Rourke, but they're just not as organized on that outside. And now O'Rourke's going to slide on back, and we might see them fall into line in a little 10-car or 10-truck draft here potentially.
Wes Hogue was running in the top 10, kind of put the parachute out on that last run, and now he's fallen back well outside the top 10. Brandon, when we spoke with him after the race last week, he was concerned about that point cushion as to where he needed to finish, and I think we're seeing him play that point card right now. Him, Aaron Smith were the top 2 coming in on points, and they're running around that top 20 position as these drivers, again, up front, jockey for position. Bobby Wetzel being passed on that inside. Chad Cole, first time we really spoke about Chad Cole all night long, to the back bumper of the 6 truck. And that is Chris Guibo going for the top spot. Richard Beasley on the outside starting to form something. The outside line starting to come together and put up a challenge for Kevin Brown in the 93. But Brandon, now that outside line has some new players. Do we see somebody new come up here and challenge for the lead?
Yeah, it seems like the rubber's getting put down on the track, so the outside line's starting to pick up some speed. So I think now is where you see the teammates really start to work together and try to push their way to the front, but it's looking like the inside lane's still holding strong.
Side by side down the back straightaway, Bobby Wetzel has gone to the outside in truck number 9 to try to help out. E.J. O'Rourke is back there as well. So the outside line is kind of a little disconnected as Glenn Campbell gets the apron down into corner number 3. Jamie Dobbs and Matthew Baker have to take a base of action to get around that. There goes the 31 of Greg Snellgrove through the middle. First time we've spoken about him in this top pack, but this top pack is a little bit bigger than it was on the first run. Chris Guibo going to go to the lead position. The battle is going to be in behind him for about position number 3 as Chad Cole will clear to the inside. And now Richard Beasley and Bobby Wetzel to that outside in Denver for the first time this evening. We see some new players up in front. Chad Cole, Chris Guibo, your top 2.
Absolutely, what a move, what a push Cole gave to Guibo to get that lead and take it away from Kevin Brown, but Brown wants it back. He's going to take a peek to the outside, but he looks like he's going to get shuffled back potentially a little ways, but he's got Richard Beasley coming up, and we know Beasley's had speed all night. This could be a potent combination if they can get organized on the outside along with the 9 of Bobby Wetzel. And this is going to be fun to watch them on the outside. This is really probably the best pack racing we've seen all night. Lots of jockeying, nice and clean, and you know, unlike that first initial start, that first initial run where they really split up into different packs, no one's really running away with this one, and it's making for some exciting racing and allowing some of those players to come up to the front, as we saw right there Matthew Baker going up to the outside. That outside train is looking to come to the front. They are not happy that they got shuffled back, and they're looking to attack Guibo and Cole, but they're still holding strong up front.
Jason Barham is on this outside line as well. I believe that might be Jason Netherly back there as well in the 34 that's gone to the outside. So a couple of drivers that we haven't spoke about all night long. In the case of Jason Barham, it's been since, I believe, the heat race that we've spoken about the 83, and now he's battling for the lead position throughout this. Greg Snellgrove works to the inside. Matt Egan on the back bumper as well. Donnie Leah a part of this battle in the top 10 as Leah tries to get that number 29 truck a little bit closer towards the front of the field. Drag race down the straightaway to see who will come out on top on this lap. And Matthew Baker to the outside. Looks like he'll lead them down into the corner as it still continues to be side by side. And Brandon's starting to see some 3 wide back there as well. This is starting to get dicey. This is a lot dicier than the first run that we had here that went 20 plus laps.
Yeah, and I think the guys are starting to realize, 25, it's looking like laps left to go. So for the guys that need the win or the guys that are cutting it close on points, they want to be in the front. They want to make sure they're there at the end. So you see a lot more 2 wide, sometimes 3 wide, and it's just guys trying to gain those extra positions in the end.
And we race down the straightaway. You see that tide ride up there, and look who he's found. Chad Coleman in the 38 on the back bumper of the number 10. So Beasley and Coleman trying to bring that thing back towards the front of the field. Coleman goes down low, leaves Beasley up high as they continue to push their way towards the front. Eugene Vernon there as well in the 05. So great to see him hanging out in the top 15 or so as they come back across the stripe this time by. Chris will continue to lead, but up top, Matthew Baker trying to take that advantage, and he gets that shove from Kevin Brown down the straightaway into corner number 1. Baker trying to get that win, trying to lock himself into the round of 10, but it's easier said than done, Denver. That inside line still a little bit better than the outside.
Yeah, the inside line has been holding really tough and making it really difficult as there goes Baker shuffled to the outside. We're 3 wide for the lead with a lap car up on the high side, and Baker's going to have to back out of it to avoid a potentially big wreck. That's a tough break for that driver. One moment he's going for the lead, and on the other end of the corner he is shuffled back quite a ways back outside the top 10, but there you see it. Kevin Brown was able to complete the pass, re-enter the new leader. It's Kevin Brown, the 93. He's really been able to control this race, and anytime he's got shuffled out of the lead, he has not wasted much time getting back up front. He's been strong, but you alluded to it, Tim. Chad Coleman worked his way up. He is now inside the top 10, so it's not over for him. He's rebounded nicely from that mistake he made speeding on pit road.
You saw Matthew Baker falling back there. The Kevin Brown truck. Oh, up the hill. We got one truck. That might have been E.J. O'Rourke, and I don't know if he slapped the wall or not, but E.J. O'Rourke came mighty close. 3 wide, and O'Rourke going to fall backwards here. We're 3 wide in behind them with Richard Beasley trying to shuffle Jim Brooks out of line. Kevin Brown will lead that lap, and Kevin Brown was able to slice down to that inside line and take that advantage away from Evo in behind him, but Bobby Wetzel is now the truck that is on the outside line. He's getting the push from the 0-2 of Egan, and we saw Donnie Leah start to make some moves as well. The 29 truck is up here in the top 10, trying to slice his way into the lead, but we're coming up on lap number 40. We're going to be 39 complete this time by. We saw the first run, Brandon, go 20 laps or so, so realistically the pit window is going to open here in the next lap or so if you wanted to short pit. When do we see most of these guys down on pit road knowing they have to make one more stop?
Yeah, this is where the strategy starts to get tough, because eventually there most likely will be a caution to come out. So if they cut it short and then they pit, they might find themselves a lap down, or they hold on and then the caution does come out. So it's definitely a tough decision.
A couple of cautions in between there, so guys that stayed out like Jamie Dobbs are going to have a couple more laps before they have to come down onto pit road. So keep an eye on that number 91 car, because he is up here in the lead draft in the top 10. So if we do see him come down, I think that would be the cork that kind of opens the bottle on green flag pit stops. We come by the 48 of Jimmy North to put Jimmy North another lap down. We'll bypass the mouth of pit road this time and have 40 laps completed, 20 laps to go from the iRacing SuperSpeedway. Kevin Brown continues to be your leader. Bobby Wetzel on the outside. We now got 3 wide. They've shuffled Matt Egan out. Enter Chad Coleman in behind Bobby Wetzel, and a little bit of a body check or a hip check up the hill, Denver, for the 0-2 of Egan. He goes falling backwards. The 83 pulls up to Donnie Leah. E.J. O'Rourke is still in the mix as well, and Egan's trying to find a spot in the line here.
Absolutely, and especially now with the potential for green flag pit stops probably in the next 5 to 10 laps or so, you really want to try to get to the bottom now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see that inside line freight train, because they know they got to have to pit soon, and there's really no chance, no reason to throw your race away. Someone is heading down pit road, but it looks like they are a lone soldier, which is typically doesn't work well at a place like this. Maybe that was a little unplanned, or maybe it's an unfortunate issue. I believe that's Eugene Vernon, the 05. Maybe it's a strategy move, or maybe it's going to be a tough break. We'll see how it plays out, but that could be the move that opens the floodgates. We'll see. A lot of these guys can probably go another 5 to 10 laps, because most of them pitted are on the caution under lap 25, but this race is getting down to the wire, so I don't know how late to wait, but it's definitely going to be fun to see. Strategy could make or break someone's race for sure.
I could be wrong, but I think the 05 was one of those drivers that stayed out on the racetrack, and now Jamie Dobbs throwing his hand out the window that he will be coming down next time by. We kind of caught it off these shots right here and kind of hid by the ticker, but we do have a second pack that's kind of formed. about 6 seconds or so off of the lead pack, about 8 trucks or so strong, but this is the lead pack that you're seeing here now, and it is about 23 or 24 trucks strong, and we're going to see some of them down on pit road this time by. Jamie Dobbs among those coming down. Greg Snellgrove in behind the 91 is going to come down to the pit road this time by. So this is the money stop. You do not want to make a mistake here. Coleman comes to the inside line. So we expect a lot of these drivers down on pit road. And here comes at least, well, 2 of them down on the pit road and a few in behind. But they get it down to pit speed. And these drivers continue to race on the racetrack. E.J. O'Rourke giving a little push to a driver through the middle here, Brandon.
Yeah, and that was when you start to see the pit stop, so it's always risky at these tracks, you know, going from, it looks like 225 miles an hour down to the 65-mile pit speed. So it's going to get messy with the last 16 or so laps, and we'll see how these pit stops provide action for the end.
But the issue for these drivers hasn't been the green flag pit stop itself. It's been trying to get back up and trying to maintain that pack following the pit stop, and we saw that little issue with Dwight Beverly on the last exchange. Here comes a lot of the field down into pit road. It's led by Kevin Brown. It's got Glenn Campbell in it, Chris Ebo among those that are down on pit road, and Chad Cole is also down there. Gail Brooks, I believe, is there as well. The 76 of Jim Brooks, the 5 of Matthew Baker, but up in front, those drivers that stayed on the racetrack include Chad Coleman, Donnie Leah, Matt Egan, Wetzel, O'Rourke, and Beasley. Some big names staying out at least one more lap.
Yeah, it looks like these guys like to work together, so the train's running right now, so I assume they're all going to pit at the exact same time, and we'll see how it works out for them.
And Denver, they've got a couple of friends along with them that are on this racetrack. As you can see, pit stops look pretty clean down there on pit road. A couple of drivers staying a little bit late. Chad Coleman at the end of pit road will lead this pack and will lead them still on the racetrack. So Denver will take 15 to go, and Chad Coleman still leads with the Donnie Liam, Bobby Wetzel, a lot of them staying on the racetrack. But we still get some drivers coming off of pit road. This is where the strategy comes into play.
Absolutely, but I think it's going to be interesting to see if some of these trucks manage to stay on the lead lap, which I believe some of them have managed to. That makes this really risky for someone like Chad Coleman. We saw on that last pit stop when he sped on pit road, he lost a lot of track position, and it took him 10 to 12 laps to work up back through that. Well, if you have a bunch of trucks that are able to stay on the lead lap and the caution comes out, he's going to lose all that track position if he has to pit. Now, mind you, there won't be as bad, but it's definitely risky to stay out here as long as there's people who pitted that maintain that lead lap positioning. But at the same point, this pack is kind of cruising by it because a lot of these guys have not been able to get organized after pitting. We saw the same thing on the first round of green flag pit stops, and so maybe this strategy will work out for the driver of the 38, but to overcome a pit road penalty the way he did, very impressive. And if he's able to make it through the strategy, pit stops, and hang on for the win, certainly would be a very impressive win for the driver of the 38.
I believe Bobby Wetzel and Donnie Leah may have threw their hand out the window to come down into pit road, as did the 70 of Aaron Smith. I was about to say the Aaron Smith number 70, one of those points contenders in the top 10, and here comes a majority of that pack down onto pit road, and Glenn Campbell nearly had a moment trying to get away from these drivers that were coming down onto pit road. Aaron Smith gets it woed down, and we talked about that line being a little bit further down on pit road with that cone, and that's what caught Chad off during the caution flag, and he'll come down into pit road to get service onto his race truck. Nick Hurd in the 20 or the 12 as well among those coming down. He is a lapped truck, so most of the rest of the leaders coming onto pit road to get service onto their race trucks. And Brandon, it leaves Mr. Pepper's son, Paul Pepper, on the racetrack, and he is leading this pack around with Tommy Ryan in behind him.
Yeah, and still on the track, also in third place, I'm not sure of any relation, but Jeff Ryan as Tommy Ryan and Paul Pepper come down pit road now. So it looks like just the 3-car Jeff Ryan's left on track, and then the green flag pit stops will be done.
And Jeff Ryan on pit road as well with those two, so that will cycle through the final round of green flag pit stops here this evening. And looking for Chad Coleman, your former leader, is on the back straightaway. You see that pack right there. That'll be Kevin Brown. That should be the net lead, I believe, coming off of pit road with Chad Cole in behind him. Gail Brooks there is Tommy Ryan coming off of pit road, along with Paul Pepper and Jeff Ryan, as this field tries to come back together, and we try to determine a winner in the Fate Glory Racing 150. We got problems over in corner number 4 in front of Chad Coleman, and we are still green. I'm not sure who that was that went for that slide. It was Don Runkle Jr. We stayed green. Runkle is destroyed on the apron.
Oh, wow, that's certainly an unfortunate break for him. Almost a caution coming out there, but we stay green. If you're someone like Kevin Brown, you are taking a huge sigh of relief after that, because the last thing you want to see if you're in that front pack that is pulling away, you do not want to see a caution, as we know how crazy it will get when we get re-racked. We're going to come around this time. We'll be closing in on the final 10 laps of this one, and it's really going to come down to the wire, but we've been watching him all race long, and Kevin Brown has been able to control this race when he's been out front, and we see it again. He's leading the way. I would say he's probably led the most laps in this one, and cruising to potentially his second win of the season. 21 laps led there. You see it, and he's been the guy to beat so far today. The only one that's really strongly contended has been Chad Coleman, but potentially a penalty could be the ultimate decider that took him out of contention, Tim.
And you look at this pack here, you got Bobby Wetzel that may be on the outside when it comes to championship points, trying to get into the playoffs. Chad Coleman runs so strong on these super speedways. It's hard to believe he hasn't won a race this season, but he's on the outside looking, and there is one of those points drivers right now of Aaron Smith. He is currently in. If the race finishes the way it is right now, Aaron Smith, I believe, would be in, and Wes Hogue sits back in 22nd. Quick math, I believe those two would still be your 2-point drivers that are into the show or into the playoffs through those 2 points positions, but that would add a third. If Kevin Brown was to win, it would add a third. So, and Boyard right now, unofficially, the third driver in on that one. So we'll see what translates here and see what transpires. But Brandon, right now, Kevin Brown, currently your top driver, and Chad Cole, Gail Brooks, Chris Gibo, and looks like the 91 of Jamie Dobbs are the drivers that control this. And looking back here, Jamie Dobbs is actually 1 lap down right now in position number 30. So it's a 5-truck tandem per se, but Brandon, only 4 are vying for the win.
Yeah, Chad Cole, a great run so far. He started 33rd and he's up to 2nd. So unlike the group of Aaron Smith and Bolliard and Hogue, they're not looking for a caution. They have, it looks like, 2 seconds on the 5th place and then about 7 seconds on the 7th place car. So they're really hoping this stays green with about 9 to go. But for the guys like Aaron Smith, Bolliard, Wes Hogue, all the guys in the backpack, they're really hoping the yellow comes out here.
I think if I'm Wes Hogue, I think if I'm Aaron Smith, I kind of want this thing to stay green. Even if I'm Bobby Wetzel, because if we're taking 3 in points, Wetzel is ahead of Jarrett Bolliard, and Bolliard right now running in 17th place. So that would put Wetzel in a position to transfer in through points. So if I'm Wetzel, I'm a huge Kevin Brown fan right now. If I'm everybody else in that 4-car, 5-truck pack right there up front, I want to get by and I want to try to lock myself in as long as I'm in the top 30 in the point standings, as they'll come by the back straightaway one more time, and laps are quickly clicking away for the rest of this field. And the only other 2 trucks that might stand a chance here, Denver, are Paul Pepper and Tommy Ryan. They run 3 seconds in behind, but they're only 3 trucks, along with the 83 of Jason Barham. They've got to dig and dig deep here in the final couple laps if they want to catch these guys in front of them.
For sure, Tim, but that's all dependent on staying green. And I don't know if we caught it, but just a couple laps ago, we almost had a huge moment. Kevin Brown might need to change some of his suits after that one. We had a slower car make a very late decision to pit coming down the front stretch right in front of our leaders, and that was almost a big moment, but somehow they avoided the wreck. Kevin Brown maintains the lead, and I don't know. You got to start to think now, if we do stay green, what these guys behind him in the pack, what sort of a strategy move they plan to make a pass, or if they even choose to do so. We haven't seen in a while anyone move out of this pack. So I don't know, Tim, what do you think? Do you think someone like a Chris Gibo might try to pull out and make a move here in the closing laps?
I think if you have to, you have to try to take a victory as any way you can get it. Kevin Brown has been the biggest factor in this race. He's led the most laps in this show and trying to lock it down, but one small mistake from somebody out back, and that is going to bring the field back together. We had a small little glimpse of what would be the third pack of cars or trucks led by Chad Coleman, Richard Beasley, Jim Brooks, Donnie Leah back here as well. There's that pack on your screen. This is 10 seconds behind the leader. It's position number 7 on back. And these drivers, maybe with the exception of Bobby Wetzel, want a yellow. If you're Chad Coleman, you want a yellow to try to have an opportunity to win this thing and get up there and battle for your playoff spot, because that's the only way you're getting in. Brandon, I think if you're Bobby Wetzel, I think you're probably good on points if this stays this way and Kevin Brown wins. But if you're Bobby Wetzel, you need Kevin Brown to win this thing.
Yeah, for sure. And for the guys like Chad Coleman, where they need the win, they really want a yellow to come out. There's 5 to go. They're about 10.5 seconds back. So they need the pack to get grouped back up to even give them a chance to win this race.
Down into corner number 3, the 93. Kevin Brown continues to lead this thing, trying to wrap up the Faded Glory Racing 150 as they'll put a lap on a Hallahan. One more lap down, and there's that side-by-side pack there as Donnie Leah has a little push from E.J. O'Rourke, and 3 of Jeff Ryan up here in the top 15 as well late in this one. Stefan Marinick has called it a night. He has retired to number 24, just a few laps shy of the finish of this one. Kevin Brown, Chad Cole, Gale Brooks, Chris Gibo, your top 4, and we are coming down to the final couple laps, and they are working Denver on a caution back here.
They sure are, and that might be it right there. We have contact, we have truck sideways. Somehow they saved that. I believe that looked to be big. They were coming up to have a lap on a slower car, and a little bit of contact. We've seen someone get up into the wall. Incredible that they saved that. I thought we were about to see big trouble, and I thought we were about to see the entire scope of this race get changed. But we stayed green, but these guys here, that definitely had to shake them up a little bit. Now they're trying to regroup and move forward.
This lead pack, though, has picked up a couple of lapped cars. Raymond Rittenauer including in that. He is last week's winner. Eric Laurie is also a part of this. So this lead pack, per se, that's battling for the win may have a couple of extra wild cards in here as we come down this next time by to 2 laps to go. There is your lead pack on your screen. Your top 3 are lead lap trucks. That is Chad Cole pushing Kevin Brown and Gale Brooks in behind. Jamie Dobbs is a lap truck with Chris Gibo in behind as they put a lap on Jose Gonzalez. That 6 truck is a lead lap truck, and then in behind them, Gabe Butler, Raymond Rittenauer, Eric Laurie. If they can get accordion back together, Brandon, they may have a say in who wins this thing. We have taken 2 laps to go, so they come by next time and take the white. If you're Kevin Brown, how anxious are you in that lead?
Oh, you're really anxious, especially because sometimes on the last lap at a super speedway, you don't really want to be in the lead. You want to be the guy behind, pull the draft, and then you can make that slingshot move. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see who ends up at the crossing the finish line first.
So there's 2 real big stories to follow here as we get ready to take the white flag. Kevin Brown has already won a race this season. Kevin Brown is locked in. If he wins this race, it'll add a 3rd in on points. So Bobby Wetzel right now, the biggest fan of the 93 as they come by to take the final lap. White flag is out in the Faded Glory 150. And a final lap and final time to lock yourself in to the playoffs if you can get by. Kevin Brown has dominated this race, this iRacing Super Speedway round, but Chad Cole right in behind looking to pounce and trying to take away a victory. Gale Brooks in behind. The field in behind is starting to accordion back up. The 1 truck getting a run to the outside with Paul Pepper, I believe that is. Or check that, that's Raymond Rittenauer. They are not on the lead lap as they come through 3 and 4 for the final time. Kevin Brown is holding the lead. Chad Cole gets the run. Gale Brooks gets turned in the 71. They come by the start-finish line, and Chad Cole, little contact, and Kevin Brown, is it going to be? It's going to be Kevin Brown going to the win, 4 thousandths of a second. That was huge. Kevin Brown's 2nd win of the season, Denver.
Wow, that was an incredible finish, Tim. Wow, I am in shock for what we just saw. They had to make the move. they had to try, and you saw Chad Cole got the run up to the outside, and look at that, wow. It doesn't get much closer than that. He almost had it. If the finish line was a couple 100 feet earlier, we might be talking about a Chad Cole victory, but there you see coming across the line, incredible finish. Kevin Brown dominates the race, almost loses it on the final straightaway. He claims it in a photo finish as they wrecked in his mirror. Wow, what an incredible race, incredible finish, Tim.
And the worst thing for this, and we kind of understated this, Gale Brooks was the driver that came in 5th in the points without a victory, forgetting Daniel Falkingham in that mix. And he went from position number 3 at the end to 13th place. He might have had an opportunity at the end to point his way in and try to get a couple of extra points on Bobby Wetzel, but Gale Brooks is going to finish 13th. Bobby Wetzel is going to come home 11th. So unofficially, with Kevin Brown winning that thing, that should put Bobby Wetzel in because he's ahead of Jarrett Bolliard as he was in the points coming in. So we're going to tabulate the points in a bit, but look at that finish one more time. Kevin Brown is a 2-time winner in this Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series. And you'll see your results on the screen momentarily. Chad Cole, Chris Gibo, Tommy Ryan, Paul Pepper, top 5 tonight. Chad Coleman comes up short in 6. Richard Beasley, Jim Brooks, Matthew Baker, and Donnie Leah, your top 10 in this one. And Brandon, not a bad finish to this regular season. And this is the track and the truck combination I believe we're going to run at the finale. So I think we're in for a doozy there, too.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. I mean, by not even a front bumper, he got the win. And you knew that on the last lap, coming around the last corner, that the second and third place car, they had to do something to get around him. But tonight it just wasn't enough.
Well, since this is the first race for Denver matchup for the Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series, we'll send him down to victory lane to catch up with our winner, Kevin Brown.
Kevin Brown, he dominated this race, was in control for the majority, but when it came down to the finish, he had to hang on there at the end. Congratulations, Kevin. Take us back through this race, because it really seemed like you were the man to beat from the start.
Yeah, definitely. We had a really good car night. It sucks that we accidentally uploaded the Ford paint scheme and didn't bring out the Ford car. Well, otherwise, we would have had a paint scheme. But yeah, it definitely was a fun race.
Take us back to that finish. Coming off turn 4, you knew Chad Cole was on your bumper. You had to expect the move was coming, and when he made it, he almost had you. What was going through your mind coming to the line?
Well, those guys, all 4 of us in line there were all teammates. So I told him on the last lap, it's all bets off, no teammates. So I told him if he was going to try to pass me, we're definitely going to bang doors. And thankfully, I was able to out-edge him a little bit.
This race, we really saw a lot of different strategy, drivers pitting at different times. How did that strategy play into your race? Did you come into it with any set strategy?
Normally, no. I normally just come here to run and hopefully finish where we finish, But our teammate G-Bone, he had a good idea of pitting early there, and it definitely helped us all out because we were able to break away and have that nice lead towards the end there, and we could all just battle it out towards the end.
So looking forward, this is the same combination track and truck that they're going to use in the finale. You're the first 2-time winner this year. What's it going to take for you to bring home a title?
Definitely the same thing that happened tonight. I think definitely we got a good shot at winning it. So hopefully we make it there.
So after tonight's win, would you consider yourself the favorite?
I don't know about that.
Well, a hell of a performance tonight. Congratulations on a great run, an incredible finish. You definitely deserved it tonight, and now you get to look forward to the playoffs. So congratulations, Kevin, and who would you like to thank tonight?
I just like to thank my guys at iRacing, Chris Kaboo for painting the paint scheme, even though it would upload it. Let's see here. Thanks everybody, you guys for putting it on, SIM500, and yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Kevin, and best of luck going forward.
Thanks, guys.
We're going to send it to, I believe, Tim, maybe with Chad Cole.
Yeah, let's catch up with our second-place finisher, Chad Cole. It was a close second-place finish, Chad, on the wrong side of it tonight, but let's talk about the run to the end, because we had a lot of green flag racing to set up that run and a green flag pit stop to boot. What was going through your mind trying to set that thing up at the end of this race?
About the time that first pit stop came around, I was thinking we're about hosed because I think we're something like 8-9 seconds off the leaders. There's a bit of an incident, and the pack just got broken up real bad, and I thought that was about game over there. So we needed that caution there, and it worked out. And taking fuel there as well on yes, I think it was the second caution we had, and Gael decided we should pit. I think 3-4 laps before we were scheduled to, and that was really the difference maker on getting that huge lead and really breaking away from the rest of the pack. So that worked really well.
So the good news this evening, it's a second place finish. The bad news is I think you're going to end up a couple of points on the opposite side going in. So not a playoff contender per se, but looking forward into these final couple of races, what do you got to do to kind of play spoiler here and pick up a couple of victories?
Yeah, all of us were in Discord kind of breaking down those last 5 laps. Like what we had a buddy, Dale, who was kind of keeping an eye on the points, trying to work some math and see how what the best scenario would be to get us all in, as many of us in as possible anyways. But it pretty much came down to we're all in agreement that all bets are off and we need to get the win for ourselves here. And that really made for a good finish, I think. I told Kevin, like, no, don't hand me anything, Gael. Don't do it. Yeah, let's just race this out for the win. So I mean, that was good. But for the remaining races, just go out, try to have some fun, maybe get a couple wins. That's all we can do at this point. Hopefully, we can help Kevin along the way too.
We asked some of these guys last week, the Trans-Service Cup Series coming to Vidane TV this season. What is your outlook for Monday nights?
I hate the A car. I don't look forward to Monday nights at all. The last 2-3 years, it's just not enjoyable for me. The as much drafting as we do in the intermediate tracks, it's just not that enjoyable. I enjoy a challenge of something like how the Xfinity car drives right now. It kind of drives like a turd, and when it drives like a turd, that's when it's the most fun for me. So it being the Cup car on Monday night is just planted with downforce and low horsepower. It's not a lot of fun, but we try to make the most of it. I think we're probably only going to make about 3 races a month due to work, but there's probably, with the drop weeks mixed in there, a very slim shot of making the playoffs. But I'm going to try to make the most of those 3 weeks, 3 races each month, and hopefully we can squeak our way in there.
Well, we hope to see the 17 up in front more often than not on those starts. Who makes it happen for this team? Who's on the team who makes it happen for you to get you to a second place finish tonight?
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to all the boys at the shop at Brown iRacing for giving us some good equal trucks that had the speed to finish. Well, we almost got 1, 2, 3, 4, but I think Gael kind of got a little bit of contact from giblets at the end there. But Kevin, Chris, Gael, Don, Dale, Jaime, Steve Gottschalk, which, I mean, he only races like once a month, but he's still a teammate and good dude. We miss him. I'm probably going to forget someone. So if you're on Brown iRacing, I love you. You're good shit.
There you go. There's Chad Cole finishing position number 2 here this evening. I believe Brandon Campbell has caught up with Chris Gibbo, who's finished in position number 3.
Hey, Chris, great run tonight, coming home P3. Just take us a little bit through the strategy through the start of the race. You started middle pack, so was your strategy to get to the front and stay there, or hang out in the middle, or what?
It seems like typically at these plate races, I like to try to get to the front. Anytime I hang in the back, that's when I end up getting caught in the wrecks. But tonight, with that, I think the leader got turned sideways in turn 3 on like the first lap, so everybody was kind of spread out, and at that point, it was try to stay in line and draft and get caught back up with the leaders, which we never did until we got a caution, thankfully.
So with fuel strategy being about 20 laps, who was making the calls on the strategies?
Well, I'm teammates with Chad and Kevin there, and Gael, he's kind of the brains. I think he's got sim racing apps up, so he's always checking the numbers, telling us how much fuel we need, giving us windows and that. The first stop we ran it pretty much dry. Then when we topped off on that second caution, once we were in the window, we knew how much fuel we had to take, so we
thought it'd be less of a risk to kind of just try to get to pit road first, pit as a team. There were a few other stragglers with us, but yeah, obviously that strategy worked out pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. And coming to 10 to go, is your plan to stay behind or in front of the pack, make the move on the last lap? What was going through your head on the last 10 laps?
Well, I haven't made all the races for this, so I don't even think if I did win, I would be eligible for the playoffs. So I wasn't really expecting to win tonight. Just kind of came to help out the teammates. I was definitely going to go for it. I hate that I wrecked Gael on the last lap there. That really sucks. But yeah, with 10 to go, I was just riding, and as soon as Gael made a move, that was my plan. I was going to go with him.
Awesome. So with the teammates coming in the top 3, what makes these cars so dominant?
I think it's just the chemistry that we have. We've been doing this together for a while, especially with the plate tracks, and it's being able to trust each other. Kevin makes some crazy moves, but we know that he can control what he's doing, so it's kind of fun to ride around behind him sometimes. But I'd say the chemistry is what makes the team flow so well.
For sure. So on a great run, who would you like to thank on the car tonight?
Just my teammates. I think Chad and Kevin both named everybody, so I'm not going to go through all of that again. Obviously, SIM500, Joey Jatina runs a great league here. You guys for putting on the broadcast. And I didn't realize until Chad was getting interviewed that you guys are also broadcasting the Trans Service Cup Series. So I'm looking forward to that. This will be my, I think, 4th season running that. So it'll be fun.
Well, we wish you good luck in that, and congratulations on the top 3. Now go party with the rest of your teammates.
I'll do. Thanks a lot, guys.
Back up to Tim.
Yeah, that's going to do it here for the post-race interviews. Congratulations to the team. And now it's a matter of crunching points and making sure that everybody is in the proper positions. And we'll figure all that out. And, I shouldn't say that. There it is on your screen. So there's your unofficial 10. Bobby Wetzel making it in through points, as will Aaron Smith, as will Wes Hogue. And everybody else will battle in. And it looks like at this point Jared Bolliard on the outside looking in. So will not be able to defend the championship through the playoffs, but had won a valiant effort. Final thoughts before we go. Denver, your first race here at Sim500. What were your thoughts?
Oh, well, I was blown away. After that first qualifier, we had seen 2 or 3 wrecks early on. I had no idea what to expect. Racing, this type of racing tends to lead to a lot of wrecks, but that's not what we saw tonight. A lot of respect from these drivers, a lot of good, clean racing. We saw a lot of different strategies. We saw different packs form. And at the end of it, it came down to an incredible finish with the truck and driver that really controlled and dominated this race, but in classic SuperSpeedway style, it came right down to a photo finish, and just incredible finish, incredible race. What more can we say? That was a lot of fun, and definitely congrats to Kevin on he really deserved it tonight, but all the drivers really impressed with what I saw tonight.
Once again, Brandon, another great race here for the SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series. Your final thoughts from iRacing SuperSpeedway?
Yeah, like I've been saying since I came here for the first time last week, this is one of the best leagues I've ever seen. They're fun to watch, and you never know who's going to win at the end. It seems like the most competitive and evenly balanced, so it's great to watch, and the playoff round's going to be even better.
Going to be exciting to see who is crowned the champion. And Paul, it all starts next week as we take that round of 10. We put them into 2 races beginning next week, I believe, at the Talladega Superspeedway.
Talladega, Daytona, and then back here at iRacing Superspeedway in these very same trucks. So you can hand the odds-on favorite over to Kevin Brown, the only 2-time winner this season. Man, it was a great build-up to the playoffs. So I'm excited. We got 10 drivers on the board unofficially here. Wes Hogue, Aaron Smith, and Bobby Wetzel making it in on points, with Kevin Brown coming home with 2 wins here. The second win coming tonight. And, very, very powerful SuperSpeedway racer in his own right. So congratulations to Mr. Brown there. And we're waiting for the official word from the Sim500 officials to update the points. We're actually going to double-check these here. Wesley Hogue is, in fact, in. Aaron Smith is, in fact, in. And Bobby Wetzel is, in fact, in. So very, very exciting to have our championship drivers built up. Like you said, Tim, we go to Talladega, we go to Daytona, and we're going to narrow this field of 10 drivers down to 4. And then we're going to come right back here to iRacing SuperSpeedway Series. Those 4 drivers are going to race against 39 other drivers, and the best finisher of those 4 will be this season's champion. They get that gorgeous championship belt there that you see on your screen, as well as the free Rent-A-Racecar street stock rental at Stafford Speedway on June 11th, the night before this SRX Series debut at Stafford Motor Speedway. So very exciting things coming up here in the next 3 weeks here on Vidane TV, here for the SIM500 Vidane Racing Super Speedway Series. And we've got Faded Glory Racing, sponsor tonight's race. They're also sponsoring the Fatal 4-Way race, the championship race here also on Vidane TV in a couple of weeks. So really looking forward to that. Taking a quick look at the schedule. You've heard me say it many, many times here throughout the past couple of weeks. We are busy. At least 4 races a week here, all the way up through the month of May, so the first half of the 2021 season. Very, very much on fire. And you can see tomorrow night, no rest for the wicked. The East Coast Winter League back for a doubleheader, the Pro and the Light Series Tour Mods tomorrow night, championship night for both of those series. Very exciting to have that. NEPS is having a little bit of triple dipper action. NEPS Grand National Series brought to you by Shift Marketing and Design here Monday night, as well as Thursday night. Tuesday, we have the RBR Maritime Group. They're going to be running at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time is when qualifying starts. The Showtime Cup Series on Wednesday night, and then the NEPS Super Truck Series on a Friday night. So big time action coming up on here at Vidane TV. Want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching at home over on YouTube and on Facebook and giving us the shout outs on Twitter. Shout out to Patrick Healy over at the Laker News for tuning in and commenting that he was watching Vidane TV on the big screen. And we always do appreciate that, and all the fan photos of the big screens, projectors, all that good stuff, the watch parties. Always join in the conversation, hashtag Vidane TV. And speaking of joining the conversation, show that you support Vidane TV. Pick yourself up a t-shirt or a sweatshirt over at vidane.net/shop and use the promo code TANGLEY for 10% off. TANGLEY. You can ask Mike James from The Rock on how we got that word, but great race here tonight. Great championship battle shaping up, and lots of action to come this week on Vidane TV. So we're going to wrap it up. Everybody here at Vidane TV, SIM500, TCM from earlier on tonight. For Denver, for Tim, for Brendan, and everybody else here in the booth, thank you guys so much for watching us here tonight. We will catch you on the flip side.